Among the many impressive alums that we have is Todd Lillibridge, a distinguished alumnus of the University of Illinois who has built a very successful career in healthcare, while also pioneering an entire sector of real estate along the way. He's an avid mentor and coach of young entrepreneurs. He's been a valuable part of the Illini family for more than 40 years, first as a student, then as an active member of our alumni community, and now as a valued member of my Dean's Business Council. Over the last decade, Todd has been a dedicated guest lecturer, a speaker, and a committed mentor to University of Illinois students, both in the face-to-face classroom and in online classes. In the 1980s, Todd began a very successful career in real estate, eventually becoming chairman and CEO of a commercial real estate company. During that time, he noticed an opportunity that no one else had seen before. It was possible to connect healthcare and real estate markets in an entirely new way. He worked relentlessly to turn that vision into an entirely new sector of industry, healthcare real estate. He spent his 1990s focused on this specialization, tirelessly building his own company, Lillibridge Healthcare Services, from the ground up into a billion-dollar private company. In 2010, he sold this company to Ventas, one of the nation's largest public owners of senior housing and medical office buildings. In the years that followed, he continued to grow the company to a valuation of more than $8 billion and began to focus on new strategic initiatives as well as personal projects. It is my pleasure to introduce our 2019 commencement speaker, Todd Lillibridge.
Well, good evening. And Jeff, thank you very much for such a gracious introduction. So welcome. Welcome, family, faculty, and friends. And most of all, welcome and congratulations to the graduating class of 2019. I realize this is a true milestone for each and every one of you, but trust me, the fun has just begun. I, too, would also like to acknowledge Mother's Day and to ask all of you to give another round of applause for all the moms here tonight celebrating Mother's Day. Well, it was about 40 some odd years ago that my mother had the opportunity to sit in this same audience. And I got to tell you, I think it was one of the proudest days in her life to see her son walk across this stage. Well, tonight, my mother's here once again. And it's one of the proudest nights in my life because, Mom, it's not only great to have you here, but it's also great to have you provide me all the wisdom and guidance that you've offered me over all these years. So to all the mothers and fathers that are with us this evening, if you thought for a moment that watching your son or daughter cross the stage, I will tell you that your work has just begun. Your sons and daughter are going to need you more than ever. They're going to need you for that same wisdom, that same guidance. But whatever you do, never tell your children what to do. Trust me, I have two of them. You know, when I was preparing for my remarks for this evening, I couldn't help but reflect back 40 some odd years ago and ask myself the question, how is it that I ever got into this fine institution today, the Gies College of Business? I know for a fact that I took my ACTs not only once, twice, maybe even 3 times, and I never scored greater than 19. So it's obvious that my parents didn't pay somebody enough to do something with my scores. But needless to say, I got into this fine institution, and clearly I would never be able to get in today, given today's standards. But you know what? It wasn't the ACTs that were so bad. It was my first semester, as I remember. I got a D in Accounting 101, a D. And, you know, it wasn't so bad that I got the D. The real bad part was that I had to post my grades on the door of my fraternity house, and that was one of the most humiliating days of my life. And I told myself that it was time to get serious about school, it was time to get serious about learning, but more importantly, it was time to get serious about the art of learning. So the art and practicing the art of learning has really led me over all these years to develop my own guiding principles, which is the focus of my comments this evening. But I'd like to ask the graduates here tonight, I'd like to know from each and every one of you, 30, 40 years from now, when you're standing up at this podium giving this same speech, what will be your message? If you're standing in front of a group of 1,000 people giving a keynote, what will be your message? Or better yet, how might you define your own personal GPS that has guided you all these years? For me, I struggled with the definition of success. You know, I thought it was about making money. Then I thought it was about making more money. Then I thought it was about material things. Then I thought it was about the people I hung with. I thought it was about the network I created. And you know what? Unfortunately, it took me over 25 years to figure it out after leaving this university that none of those things matter. None of those things matter. And when I finally figured out what really mattered in life was my ability to make a difference in the lives of others, became my true measure of success. So tonight, I hope to offer you all maybe a few words of advice, maybe a little wisdom, maybe a few lessons learned. But I'm going to ask you to remember one thing and one thing only, and that is the value of relentless humility. That's right, the value of relentless humility. You know, being relentless, whether it is in life or whether it is in business, is key. But humility and the ability to be humble is a very, very difficult thing. It's not one of those things you practice a couple hours a day or turn it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It must become part of your DNA. And when you are able to combine relentlessness and humility and put your ego aside, trust me, you will discover this irreplaceable gift that you're able to provide to others. I made a conscious decision early on to practice relentless humility. Almost to a point today, it's the norm. In doing so, I was finally able to really understand that I could make a difference in the lives of others. Throughout my entire career, I never acted like I had it all figured out, and I still don't today. I was never the smartest guy in the room, and I'm still not today, but I surrounded myself with very smart people. I never had all the answers, but I always had good questions. I called it pragmatic curiosity. As an entrepreneur, I learned there is no such straight line to success, regardless of how one defined it. When we started, we pioneered an entire asset class in a $1 trillion industry called healthcare. We started the business several years ago, and we knew next to nothing. And today, the learning curve of the business remains very steep. And I know, as well as you do, that business in general is filled with enormous amount of heartaches, disappointments, and failures along the way. However, I always learn that, ironically, that failures is where we really learn. We very rarely celebrate successes. We learn from our failures, we modified our playbook, and we move forward. It has often been said that if you are not failing, the odds are you're probably not taking enough risk. Believe me, I've had plenty of failures along the way. Matter of fact, one of the biggest, and I hate to admit this, one of the biggest challenges that we had in growing the business, because we were rapidly scaling it, is I lost sight as a CEO of the most valuable resource in our company. That was our people. And it wasn't until I hired the Disney Institute to create this exceptional, if not extraordinary experience for our customers and our clients, only to realize it was never about creating an exceptional experience for our clients and our customers. It was about creating an exceptional experience for our people. Give them a sense of purpose, who you are as an organization, and more important than anything else, why you exist. I worked for my people, not the other way around. My team made me who I am today. They taught me the value of loyalty and this incredible strength of a dedicated team. You know, taking risk in business paralleled my experience in climbing high altitude peaks around the world, climbing Mount Illini in Bolivia to climbing Chamonix in France. The truth be told, in climbing mountains, there is no straight route to the summit. And matter of fact, it's no different than business. There are tons of false peaks that one encounters along the way, and believe it or not, when you reach the summit, you are only halfway there. And trust me, the descent in mountain climbing is the most dangerous of all. So focus, teamwork, and your ability to trust your instincts can truly be the difference between life and death. And I've learned through life that loyal and passionate teammates focused on the same goal are essential, whether you are building a business or climbing a mountain. So what are you going to be relentless about? What will be the set of principles that govern your life? How will you define the mile markers that led you up to this podium? You know, you don't need to have the most money. Matter of fact, you don't need to have the most stuff. Matter of fact, you don't need to hang out with the coolest people to become the best version of yourself. You need to dream big and sweat the details. You need to create your own vision, believe in yourself, and be relentless in your pursuits. But never forget that vision is just a destination. Your values are what guides you on your journey. So in closing, I'd like to challenge each and every one of you the value of relentless humility. Whatever you do, don't make the same mistake I did and wait 25 plus years. Classwork and grades will fade, but values and people are permanent. Put them first every single time. I don't care whether you're leading a Fortune 500 company, you're running a small not-for-profit, or you're coaching your kid's baseball team. And trust me, you will encounter significant disappointments and failures and losses along the way. But what I've learned, you will also encounter successes, surprises, and happiness as well. They're all part of the journey. So embrace each of them as they come and let them go when it's time. Always, always be a giver, not a taker. Become a mentor, if not a tutor. Find a problem within your community and offer a solution. Feel and give freely of yourself, your time, and your wisdom. After all, you are a graduate of one of the finest universities in the country. And more importantly than anything else, you are now the gold standard as a Gies graduate. Remember that success is never about you, it's always about others. And the sooner you realize there is more to life than yourself, the sooner you will be truly successful. Thank you. It's been an honor, and I wish you all the best in your success on your next step in your journey. Thank you.